Yep. Welcome. How are you all? We're starting the live stream, and so far Astrid is still with me. Thank you for joining us in the previous live stream. It was great. We were lucky. So stay close, really close. How are you?
Very well. How are you all?
That's right. That's right. Well, let's get to the details, to the information. Let's get the coffee ready. If you joined another live stream, thanks. Please comment too. How have you been? Happy weekend. Let's dive into the details. Hey, besides the news, we have a report of a very positive story. One of those that is nice to share from time to time that surprises you. There isn't. There is a very positive story on the planet, another story, not this one, and obviously, all the international topics. How have you been? Patrick, Francisco, Arce, Blanca, Barcelo, well, the whole community that's joining, thank you very much. Let's go with all the energy. Let's go with all the information. And well, let's try to talk, to chat, and in the end, it's a movie Saturday, a serious Saturday. Popcorn is never missing, but well, later on, you're not watching it anymore. Since this morning, when we were talking about movies, the community was already here. There were already people asking what time. The movies and series, let's get to the information. People are already arriving. They're already coming in. Perfect. Great. Let's go. So I think we should start with the details. Check this out while we were live. Someone sent me this. Follow what's happening right now over there in Erbil. This is happening in Iraq. There are attacks. There are movements in Iraq according to reports. Let's see what it is. Look, this is what's starting to circulate right now. As always, take it with a grain of salt. We need to see if this is confirmed, right? That's another one, another of those from the video kidnapping. Let's listen to them. Not even the judge is condemned anymore. They claim that, well, it's a drone attack on the Naces refinery in the province of Erbil in northern Iraq, according to reports. This is just starting to make the rounds. There have been several attacks today in different locations. In Iraq, they won't say Iraq. This is a drone attack by Iranian drones, according to reports, possibly Shahed. We'll have to wait, if possible, to see this in more detail. Not this situation, but this is circulating, trying to break up, so to speak, not to dismantle this whole situation. Let's see if it's really happening, because there has also been a lot of data, a lot of information, and I feel that here there's also this classic thing in wars, an information war, trying to show, for example, when something isn't there. This showed that what comes up is a campaign in which supposedly he's dead. What's his name? This one, right? And then there's an attack, let's say on refineries. And so, or if there's an attack suddenly, some will go to refineries in the Middle East and others suddenly start to exaggerate. For example, they talked about a destroyed aircraft carrier and not about what's being done there and what's happening in the country. The images of the main figures constantly. It's an information war in that sense, so we have to go step by step, at least not rush. And we see that now. Before continuing with the geopolitical images and all that, we'll give you some news right away, and it's very positive. This little dog who looks like a stray dog is actually something much more important. Let's listen to him. He listens to us, and let's see if he listens. Hey, va. According to what they report, let's see. According to what they report, it comes back or reappears. A little dog, this is New Guinea. A type of dog in New Guinea called the singing dog, that's what they call it. It's known for making harmonic sounds comparable to a humpback whale, for example. It makes strange sounds. Why is this little dog important? Well, because it was declared extinct about 50 years ago. According to reports, after this little dog was declared extinct, now it shows up. Right? What does that mean?
This animal, by the way, is related to wolves. It's a species of wolf, like almost all dogs, but this one in particular has a connection to the famous dingo in Australia, which is also very unique. They look pretty similar, mostly because of the ears. I'm not sure if the other one has them. Pointy, maybe. Still, they do look a lot alike. And well, it's a creature that they finally get to see free again, something we've talked about several times lately.
Hey, yeah, what's going on? Well, here in Fregados, they've got Noah's Ark hidden somewhere around here, where suddenly species that have been extinct for 50, 100 years suddenly show up, and out of nowhere, where do they come from? Right? Especially with bigger species. With insects, you could say it was hiding in a nook, a tiny insect no one saw, so they thought it was extinct. But in this case, something like that, a bigger dog, how is that possible? Well, the truth is, look, it's good news. We usually share so much bad news, but this is news about a little animal that was thought to be extinct and now has reappeared. You could say it's something to be grateful for, right?
Right, the last time it was seen in the wild was back in 1976. That was the last sighting.
Well, very interesting, but let's get back to geopolitics again. And, more images keep being reported, this time from Seedcom. Around 4 in the afternoon, Mexico time, they uploaded another video. The people from Seedcom. Remember, Seedcom is the United States Central Command that's operating over there in the Middle East. They report, according to them, extra material from the targets the United States has attacked, which shows it's not only the United States being attacked. According to what they say, these attacks would have been against Iranian Revolutionary Guard facilities. That's what's being shown, and well, it's also part of today's images. Also, well, throughout the day, these have been reported. What do they call them? Activities like sirens, alerts that are happening now. According to the reports, they are activated sirens according to the updated data, updated as of March 26, 2014, that is, as of today. Just as the sirens have been reported depending on the areas where drones or attacks are launched towards Israel.
Red indicates attacks from Iran, yellow means attacks from Hezbollah.
Okay, that's why those yellow ones are in the north, because that's where Lebanon is and that's where Hezbollah is, and all the others are the ones that indicate Iranian attacks. Well, that's also part of this graphic map that they show. Well, this attack, the one we saw earlier, the live one right now, so I'll skip that one because we just saw it. Yes, I saw that we lost the audio, right? The one from Pahlavi, from Reza Pahlavi, let's play it now. Let's play the audio from Reza Pahlavi, which we lost just now during the live broadcast. Although in the live broadcast, it was only about 2 minutes. Sorry, I lost track there. From Reza Pahlavi's audio, which is quite interesting, right? In the end, I just said it's very interesting. I don't know what happened, but you didn't hear it again. So let's listen to it, because there have been almost daily messages from Reza Pahlavi, the one known as the heir. Above all, because up until now he is the only opposition figure there is, who is somewhat known and who has somewhat generated a certain unity. Unidad ahora. An opposition that is at least somewhat known and has created a certain unity in the world, right? I mean, what the Ayatollah is, he is the leader of Shiism. How is it distributed in other parts of the world? I mean, in Spain, in Canada, in Mexico. And there was a demonstration in New York where there were young Shiites there defending the Shah. I mean, defending the, not you, the Shah. The previous one, Hijamine, opposition. O sea, al final de cuentas, pues sí. There is, whether more or less known, whether it has generated a certain unity or not, thousands of students that the regime ordered to eliminate. I mean, I'm saying a small detail maybe for them, but it's also important. But well, in the end, it's an ideological issue. It's a purely religious issue, but it's spread in other parts of the world, and it has a tremendous level of expansionism. There is opposition, whether it's less known or whether there's less unity.
Opposition that is less known and that has generated a certain kind of opposition that is more or less. But effective groups throughout Iran have shown brilliant examples of courage. What you have done is well known, and more or less, the people of Iran will never forget your sacrifice, nor the price that, especially, has generated a certain unity of day. They have paid for the freedom of the homeland. I had told you that help was on the way. Now that help has arrived. Opposition that the bravest and most self-sacrificing sons of Iran, who, as the nation's pioneering force by all possible means known, and that either the repressive apparatus of the Islamic Republic, which is now being harsh, has created a certain unified ground for its final collapse. Keep in mind that this call is not for street demonstrations, but a call to you, young people of the Eternal Guard, so that you can deliver smart and effective blows to the repressors, tired and worn out, so that the path for millions of Iranians to take to the streets becomes even smoother. At the same time, prioritize preserving your identity and the impact you have made. A certain unity in the final battle is necessary and essential to protect the avalanche of millions of people. You are descendants of Rostam and Kaveh, and your enemies are from the lineage of Zahak. In this battle between good and evil, between light and darkness, you are on the right side of history. And the hope that is less known and that has perhaps generated a certain unity, a lot of impatience, and great hope. The day when I can finally have the honor of being present by your side in the first liberated city of Iran. And that together we can achieve the long-awaited final victory.
There is the message from Reza Pahlavi, quite powerful, especially because, well, he seeks unity, but there's also a more political message now. And they start obviously trying to convince that opposition or those groups that maybe don't want Shiism or the same thing and all the others. It's an interesting topic, and it's also worth noting a message that Marco Rubio sends.
I've said it repeatedly. I don't know why it's so hard for some people to understand, so let me say it again. No one has a right to a visa. There is no constitutional right to a visa. All right, a visa is a permit to enter our country as a visitor. If you enter our country as a visitor and as a visitor in our country, whether as a student, tourist, journalist, or whatever you want to be, and you engage in activities that go against the national interest and national security of the United States, will we take away your visa? Actually, if we'd known you would do that, we likely wouldn't have issued the visa.
Well, that's a strong statement, and there have been a lot of controversies because of what's happening with this censorship that's been taking place, that's been reported. Also to journalists and people who are working there and obviously have a work visa, but if you're critical, they can send you out. In fact, well, there have been several acts of censorship today towards, well, several media outlets. If you want, we can talk about that topic right now. Media outlets that have been critical of the issue with Iran have been censored. They've had their permits taken away and things like that, especially regarding broadcasting signals.
Yesterday, I mentioned that it wasn't just yesterday that Piché came out and made a criticism like that. Very, as they say, a glass generation. That's where you can see the glass generation complaining that the media didn't support Trump, that they only came out to criticize him, that it was really wrong. Well, I don't know if I haven't mentioned it, but the media they're not cheerleaders for politicians. The media's job is to see what mistakes are being made so they can be fixed.
And those groups always complain about that, precisely about the snowflake generation, about being sensitive. Well, it's the same thing, exactly the same. It's just that now it's the other way around. They criticize you, and now you don't like that criticism. Another message is the one given by this person, what's the name of the chancellor, this Abbas Aragashi, who says the following in one of these interviews they've done with him.
So the reaction would be clear. Last night they attacked
Kark Island and Abu Musa Island with the artillery rocket system called El HIMARS, as they call it, which is a short-range rocket. And they have done this from the territory of our neighbors, and this is absolutely clear. Now they are using the territory of our neighbors to attack us with this kind of rockets, and this is absolutely wrong. Which neighbors, sir? Well, these attacks last night were tracked by our forces, and now it is clear that they were launched from the United Arab Emirates, from 2 locations in the United Arab Emirates, from Ras Al Khaimah, and from a place very close to the city of Dubai. And it is very, dangerous that they use densely populated areas to launch, rockets against us.
Well, it's just so curious, isn't it? Because the message is exactly the same thing they complain about the Iranians. That the launchers that Tehran has, the launchers that are in this region of the world, here, in this area, many of the launchers would be, among different places in the population. Come on, they're not in a remote area far from cities, but they're right next to the cities. Why? Well, so that if there's an attack, it also hits civilian areas. Now the other way around, right? They complain that supposedly the same thing is done not by Middle Eastern countries, who they say also have launcher sites in areas where there are civilians, according to the complaint by Abbas Aragashi. You say, well, what are they playing at or not playing at? I mean, it's one of those things where one side does it and the other doesn't, right? It's a very interesting topic in all of this as well. But let's get to what happened in this attack that took place today at different locations in the Gulf countries. Why were drone attacks launched against City Banamex branches? This happened in the United Arab Emirates and in Bahrain specifically, supposedly because in this area of the Emirates, the most significant attacks have been launched recently. So, are they targeting the United Arab Emirates? It's an issue that is starting to accelerate and is also becoming, well, concerning. Especially because what we're seeing right now is going to have an effect on Monday. On Monday, we'll probably see reactions in the markets.
Exactly. The attack on Citibank there in Dubai, in the United Arab Emirates, and also a branch in Manama over in Bahrain, where, well, the spokesperson for the Revolutionary Guard, whose brigadier general is named Ali Mohammed Naimi, well, he stated that this action is a response to the fact that a few days ago, as we mentioned here, Israel attacked a bank that is basically responsible for paying all the military personnel of the Revolutionary Guard and also the Quds Force. So, well, in fact, they had mentioned right there that there would be symmetrical attacks in response to this attack on the bank.
Exactly. I mean, they were going to attack in response to that other attack. That's how it is. You know how these conflicts are. That's how they are. I mean, you attack one thing of mine, I attack something of yours that's more or less equivalent. And they just do their calculations, that's all. There's a detail that catches my attention because in the United Arab Emirates, there's a lot of, let's say, money. Huge amounts. That the Iranians took money out, especially during the war when they sent it to the United Arab Emirates. I don't know if they left it there or sent it elsewhere. That's the part we don't know, but it was reported, at least by the United States Treasury. They reported that they were finding signs of very large money transfers, billions of dollars, to the United Arab Emirates. I don't know if in that case that calculation could also affect them in that sense. I mean, the attacks also have to be limited to a certain extent because in the end it could also affect them. What is true is that there isn't. We're now in the third week of attacks and there are no signs that this is going to slow down. There's also no indication that they want to stop attacking countries in this region. It seems like the strategy is going to continue along those lines. I think the strategy from their perspective is working. I mean, for what they're aiming for, which is to put pressure on the United States, that's how they must be seeing it. And on the other hand, the United States, today Donald Trump said, well, there are a number of ships that he's expecting, right? Because it hasn't been confirmed. Yes?
He's kind of putting on pressure.
Exactly, that in this area they start to position ships to protect all the countries in the region. Now, among those countries he mentions are France and Germany. Yes, he mentions China, right, as they say, because China is one of the first interested in calming this area down, right, the attacks. There's also the idea of placing American ships in the area, something the entire Pentagon had said wasn't possible. For now then, it's very likely that we still won't see any smoke. Come on, the Strait of Hormuz is going to remain closed, at least for now. Supposedly, if attacks kept happening like the ones that happened today in this whole area, wasn't the United States supposed to attack and make them disappear, right? I mean, regarding the oil issue, which I don't think it's that simple that they're just going to do it right now, because that would then imply the likelihood of a symmetrical attack from Iran, in which they'll say, well, then I'll also attack the entire oil sector of all the countries. Oh? You left me without oil, so let me leave everyone else without oil too, right? Including even oil in other areas. Another front opened also towards Ukraine today because they're angry that Ukraine is receiving technology. Yes, because, well, in the end, I mean, those same drones have been hitting Ukraine for 4 years and they want Ukraine not to react. You say, well, hey, for 4 years you were selling drones to Russia, the ones that have been making the most impact, and now it turns out you don't want Ukraine to react. Well, obviously, there is, yes, an open front that could clearly happen between Ukraine and Iran. And I also think Iran, they do it a little, maybe with the idea of pulling Russia to their side. Not to say one of those, well, fights break out with Ukraine, and in one of those, maybe Russia will send us some help, which right now, well, I see it as difficult to get strong help like that.
Other than intelligence,
Other than intelligence, it looks difficult because right now they're just barely making some progress in Ukraine, so they're even less likely to get involved in another front, which is much more complicated. So, besides, that would mean directly fighting with the United States and Israel, which also seems complicated for now. Another thing is that the Iranian foreign minister we just saw, Abbas Araghchi, reacted strongly about Moshtaba. So, what has happened with this person? Let's talk about that. The Iranian foreign minister Abbas Araghchi has reacted to the speculation about Moshtaba. I walked there. And the speculation is quite reasonable, right? I mean, it's not just speculation for the sake of it because the supreme leader, the so-called supreme leader, I say so-called because he hasn't appeared even once despite being at war. Since his father passed away, well, he hasn't shown up even once. It's impressive that there's not even an announcement. They said, well, let's see. They said that on day X because it's a sacred day. For whatever reason, that's the day he's going to show up. Well, you say, well, at least there's a solid reason, right? What gets confirmed is that he's injured, by the Iranians themselves. Confirmation from them, right? And there are already intelligence reports that claim he's not just injured. But the Pentagon says he might be disfigured. They believe he's alive, but disfigured. And well, with zero chance that he could show up, at least appear in public for now. So Mokhtaba, I walked and he doesn't show up. And the Chancellor, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, what does he say?
Well, the Minister of Foreign Affairs says that the new leader has no problem and that he will soon come out to fulfill his wishes. That they will see him soon. Well, I imagine it will be in a broadcast or something like that. And, well, actually, he just reacted right now. Donald Trump says that he is sure that he's not even alive. If he's already saying this, there must be more information now.
Yes, well, this is already the second time that Trump says he's not alive. Mokhtaba, that he believes at least that he's not alive. It's likely that it'll happen that way. We'll see over time if that comes true or not. But for now, while things are uncertain, they're also offering $10 million. For information about Mokhtaba, The one over there on the left, that's the one who's supposed to be the supreme leader, and some other figures. Some of them don't even have photos. Today, for example, Israel announced that they eliminated 2 generals, 2 intelligence chiefs who had replaced the previous ones who had just lost their lives, and now they have also lost their lives. We're already seeing the same way of operating as what happened against Hezbollah, where they put in new leaders and eliminate them, and then put in new leaders and eliminate them again. So, actually, if the news about the new supreme leader is confirmed, it would be the same thing. You eliminate one, and then you eliminate the one who followed the supreme leader. They claim that since the 28th, he has either been unconscious or dead. Mokhtaba himself, they put someone in place, the Revolutionary Guard did, just so they could stay in power and do whatever they want. And not the council, what do they call it? Council
of
this transition, let's say, so that the transitional council wouldn't be operating and the military would be in charge. So they put this figure in place, right? Supposedly that's the concept behind it. There were 400 waves of attacks by Israel against Iran, and it's not known how many waves there have been from the United States. Do they only report completed targets or not? Yes.
In the last 24 hours, it's claimed that there are 200 targets in Iran that the Israel Defense Forces has hit.
The Israel Defense Forces?
Not the Israel Defense Forces, 200 in just 24 hours.
And meanwhile, well, this is the image I was telling you about earlier, where the United Arab Emirates, would have been attacked. That's the port of Fujairah, not the one that's on fire, because Iranian drones would have attacked that port where oil is exported. The United Arab Emirates is the 6th largest oil power in the world, the 7th in terms of sales, but the 6th in terms of what they have, more or less. But that's one part. The other really important part is that they turned around A tourist center, well, it's tourism, yes, but it's a different kind of tourism specialized in luxury and finance. I mean, it's not just any tourist who comes, it's a tourist who arrives with a very high level of economic capacity to consume, buy, and invest. I mean, it's not just tourists coming to stroll around. Many tourists come there to do business. So they live and depend a lot on these things not happening. And what you see right now, and I've been seeing it from different points of view, some more, let's say, more conservative, and others much more open, that these attacks won't be able to be reversed for years, because it's not just about the attacks themselves and saying, well, things will calm down after a while. Yes, it's just that you end up realizing your investment of millions. He has a tremendous strong point. Isn't there a chance you could get attacked? So as long as the Iran regime exists, investors are going to say no, thank you, no.
There are already real estate companies offering discounts.
Of course, now if someone is thinking very long term and likes risk, well, they can buy there cheaply. And maybe in one of those cases, the investment comes back and recovers. Or maybe not. It basically depends on what happens with this regime, right? And what they ask for, I mean, on the other hand, what Iran basically wants is for that whole area to be left without any United States bases specifically. And that's also another red line that Iran wants to cross. Even though the United States claims they've already won, raised the alarm, and achieved everything, well, on the other hand, Iran says, well, I mean, it keeps asking. It doesn't ask for what it demanded before the conflict. Now it asks with more intention.
We say here intention like they're acting all high and mighty and not asking. I mean, they don't give anything in return.
No, they're not asking for anything. I mean, they're not offering anything.
I mean, Iran really doesn't want to negotiate. They're interested in escalating this and making the United States and Israel look bad.
What I'm wondering right now is that the scandals are running out. I mean, the year 2026 has basically been all about scandals. I mean...
And are we going to have more?
Or you say, okay, the whole Einstein thing came out, all the stuff about Einstein started coming out. How do you shut it down? How do you shut down the Einstein thing? Well, with Maduro, and then with Maduro, a lot of things started coming out, some that did come out and others that didn't. And you start to say, well, everything was going fine. I mean, in terms of achieving a goal halfway, but when more documents from Einstein start coming out, now they move on to the topic of Iran. But now the problem with Iran is created, growing, and now you have to do something else to cover up Iran. So it's like you say, now what? I mean, what documents are they going to release now? The ones about the Chupacabra or what, right? What's going to happen? What's going to happen there? That's why the question we were asking just now when we were talking with Jirez was, is the World Cup going to happen or not? I mean, that's the big question. How can you organize such a big project with any certainty? When, well, there are going to be more really extreme radical groups, yes.
Yes, there are calls. There are strong Shiite groups who like to spread the beliefs of the IKMN to their people. Oh, the goal is to expand it across the United States. There are already some in Europe and Canada. And the idea is, well, to spread that hatred, right? Because basically you're spreading the teachings of the IKMN, which means you're spreading hatred.
That's there. It's over there. Specifically in New York, right? I mean, that's New York. And there they are with the flags of Iran. Not the flags of Free Iran, but the flags of Shia Iran. And there are people there with a photo of Ali Khamenei right in the middle of New York. And basically, they're saying that they don't agree with the conflict. And up to that point, I can say, okay, that's fine. You don't agree with the conflict. I think nobody wants a conflict. But to defend a figure like Ali Khamenei, who has caused all the harm he has caused to his own people throughout the year, you say it's incredible because you say you're contradicting yourself a lot. I mean, you live in a country that you criticize and a country you don't agree with. And well, the contradiction there is pretty big. But I wonder how many people are on that path, let's say, in that ideology. Right here in Mexico, there was one, not many people, but there was a demonstration too, also a small one.
And there is a Hezbollah flag?
Yes, with a Hezbollah flag in Mexico, Mexico City. This is incredible, honestly, and well, it's also part of what's happening. Let's move on to other important matters. there's a topic that really catches my attention, which is, well, from these analyses that are done regarding anomalies, but there's one anomaly we've talked about here, which is the anomaly of Antarctica. You remember there's an anomaly there, which has to do with the gravity of the planet, right? Well, now scientists have discovered this anomaly, and by the way, we'll come back in a moment to several points that need to be discussed about what's happening in the Middle East. But this scientific report really caught my attention. Scientists say they have detected, and we've already talked about this here, an anomaly in Antarctica. Yes, but the anomaly isn't just an anecdotal thing to say, oh look how crazy. Gravity behaves slightly differently, specifically in the southern part, in Antarctica. Researchers confirm not only the gravitational anomaly. This, I insist, is not just, let's call it in quotes, a hole, but this region has a tiny difference in which, for humans, an object weighing 100 kilograms would, they say, weigh slightly less. Yes, the study was published in the journal Science Reports with the participation of researchers from the University of Florida. They used a tool with seismic imaging in the Earth's mantle to reconstruct how the evolution of this anomaly has been. Through geophysical simulations, the scientists were modeling the flow of the rocks. Well, basically what they did was model the past of that anomaly. How has that anomaly worked? And they realized that as the anomaly has been moving, the planet's climate has also changed. So they say, well, maybe these flows, this anomaly is also having an effect on the climate. And this is where things get really interesting. The study states that the anomaly has existed for about 70 million years, but its intensity has changed over time. One of the most striking findings is that the changes in this anomaly coincide with major geological events. For example, the Great Antarctic Glaciation, which began 34 million years ago. And it is opening up a hypothesis that if the Earth's internal processes could perhaps be indirectly influencing the climate and also its shape.
De las capas de hielo.
The scientists clarify that this link has not yet been fully proven, that it is a subject still being studied, but the idea is already there, the hypothesis is already there. To say maybe it's another factor, it's not the only one. But what they say is that there is another factor that hadn't been considered, which is how it is composed. Obviously, the solar cycles, obviously what humans and we here also influence, and another factor is the internal part of the planet. In other words, how this mantle behaves could also be influencing the climate, something they say is still in the process of being proven, he says. The weaker gravity in this area could affect the local sea level, because gravitational variations change how water is distributed in the oceans. This raises several questions, for example, the stability of the layers in the Antarctic ice, but also what they call ocean currents, the currents. Scientists are now proposing to create more climate models coupled with geological models to investigate, for example, whether this gravitational anomaly has really been influencing, for example, Earth's evolution, in how, for example, the continents have been built or how they have formed over time. But well, it's an investigation that's going to take a long time, they assure. And at some point, maybe we'll also be able to analyze the climate with another extra factor that will make it more accurate. Also, well,
the measurement.
Prediction and measurements, especially long term. Now, let's move on to other important matters. What are we seeing here?
Here we are seeing the attacks that took place earlier today by Israel on Isfahan. Remember that this, without Iran, is an area where there would be nuclear material.
So, Isfahan, that place near where these nuclear facilities are, right? The ones that were attacked in June, not Isfahan itself. Well, so, this was earlier today, according to the reports as well. What is this?
Well, we're going to see this moment right now. It's a report about a robot that's already participating in the war with Ukraine, but we'll get to the details in a bit.
Okay, we'll get to the details in a moment. We also have this other image,
These are attacks that are happening in the Kurdish area.
In Erbil?
In Erbil, yes.
Where we set the comment,
Over there in Iraq, This would be in an area where the Kurdish leaders are the Kurdish military.
That's why, well, there's hostility between the Iranians and the Kurds there. We have to remember that they even considered entering Iranian territory.
Exactly. Right now, they just said that they are ready to enter if necessary.
Well, this is also part of what is happening right now. Let's go then. Another image that draws attention today is, what are we seeing here?
Here we are seeing what it would be. This is a drone operated by Hezbollah, but Hezbollah, the one that's in Iraq, which has another name, Hezbollah, I can't remember, isn't Hezbollah the one from Lebanon? These are images of attacks that have occurred.
Okay, I mean,
It's Hezbollah, yes, okay.
that's the attack, that's what they share, not that vision of the FBP. This one, well, also
with a drone?
Also with a drone, right? That also draws attention. Well, that's how things are. Let's move on to other interesting topics. Today, this person commented, let's listen to him. We saw it was just a small part. Tomorrow we'll listen to him.
After this last incident, I also got in touch and spoke again with my Iranian counterpart. They do not take responsibility for this event.
Well, that's the point I wanted to mention. I mean, he is the one in charge, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Turkey, who says the Iranians deny responsibility for the attacks against them, claiming it's not them. Although he also says he acknowledges that the technical part does not match that reality. I mean, what does he mean? So, in a more direct way, the Iranian comment is contradicting the technical reality of how a missile operates. I mean, they have launched 3 missiles towards Turkey, and it's a NATO country, right? So, what is he saying? This person, his name is Hakan Fidan.
Hakan Fidan is the spokesperson for foreign affairs. He is the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Turkey. And, well, they say they are not going to fall for provocations, that they are not going to let themselves be dragged into the Middle East war. And they say, no, we absolutely oppose being dragged into this war. We are fully determined not to fall for provocations. They don't want to get involved at all, even though this would be the 3rd missile heading toward Turkey and the closest one yet.
Yeah, I mean, and you totally understand the strategy. You're not going to get involved in something you hadn't planned for or considered. I mean, why would you do it? I mean, really, just because of 1 little missile or 2 that might land over there or 3, as long as they don't cause any harm and they can stop them. Well, on one hand, it shows that they have defensive capabilities, and on the other hand, it shows that there's no anxiety about war, which to me seems logical. Macron was saying the same thing today. Which, well, basically was that they don't want to operate, that they don't want to get involved in the conflict. And that's also, well, that's logical, right? I mean, unless they see something truly decisive, maybe then they would get involved in a conflict. But in the meantime, an attack, a scrape, so to speak, wouldn't justify an open war. Because who knows, as they say, you know when a war starts, but you don't know how it's going to end. Of course, and that's the issue in these matters, right? So let's move on to other important topics.
Well, it seems that the saturation of attacks by Iran and Hezbollah is already having an effect on Israel. Since today, United States officials are warning and confirming that Israel has just informed Washington that this week it is critically low on ballistic missile interceptors. And it's a problem that's not new. Israel has already been in conflict with reduced reserves after carrying out, well, major interceptions. We saw it during the war with Gaza, where Iran was also involved. And, well, the pressure on this defense system has intensified because Iran has started adding the infamous cluster munitions to some of these missiles. And this makes interception much more complicated and forces the use of more interceptors for each attack. These defenses require even more long-range capabilities. Long-range missiles require more effort because they've been using ballistic missiles, and the Iron Dome system is mainly designed for short-range rockets. And they don't completely solve this threat, so well, is it already affecting them? This United States official said that Washington had known for months that Israel was already entering a critical inventory zone. Because, well, you have to include the war with Gaza, all this duration, which, well, wasn't just with Gaza. And, well, it was already expected. This shortage, right, it was bound to be announced sooner or later. And, well, during the war, just to give us an idea, During the 12-day war, which has already been surpassed by this one, the United States fired more than 150 TATS interceptors, approximately a quarter of the inventory. At that time, and in the first 5 days of the war, the one we're seeing right now, $2.4 billion were used on Patriot interceptors. Or that a lot is being spent, and, well, both countries are obviously losing their munitions, their means of defense. Even though Trump says it's unlimited, well, the reality is that's not the case.
No. I mean, look here. That's why the map part is so important. I mean, it's about seeing where Israel is. I mean, Israel's position is really complicated from a strategic point of view because there are many countries that could potentially be its enemies. I mean, they've gotten along well with Jordan, they've gotten along well with Egypt. It's been years now, but not with Iran, not so much with Lebanon specifically because of Hezbollah. No, and because of Iran's influence, and because Iran has the regime, they have this idea that the only way they see themselves in this world is by pushing Israel aside as a country, right? And the issue is that Israel in all these years has done its job when it comes to defense, when it comes to intelligence. And now, well, the Iranians are the Iranian regime is at a point where, well, its existence is also at stake, not as a country, but as a regime. So, well, Chavismo has a very, let's say, harsh, very aggressive way of seeing things, especially considering that their view is, in order to exist, I basically have to eliminate you, right? So, well, that's not something I would have expected. Maybe, I don't know, that over time they would start changing that part. But no, it seems that, on the contrary, it has actually gotten worse. And, well, they're betting on that precisely to extend the conflict. For what purpose? To see if the defense systems weaken, to see if they can cause more effects. Enough so that they don't lose, I insist, more than wanting to win the war. What they want is not to lose it. Exactly. And it seems that's what they're trying to achieve with.
And that's what they're achieving. Israel is looking for alternatives. For example, today it was reported that Israel is trying to contact Zelensky to see how can Ukraine support Israel to, well, better handle drone attacks. We should also remember that Ukraine has been successful in destroying certain long-range missiles that Russia sends with the Patriots, even though they're not made for that. And it has had 2-3 things that could help Israel. I mean, because the challenge is not really about helping Zelensky.
What's happening in this image?
Well, this image is shared in Iran by the Iranian regime, where supposedly all these people are lining up to participate. In these places where people are detained, there are checkpoints to prevent protests.
Well, there it is, right? I mean, surely there must also be people on their side who get involved in this kind of, not this kind of dynamic. At the end of the day, they also have a percentage of the population, and it's a large population that supports the regime, right? I mean, there are reports that talk about 15%, others that even mention 25% of the population. And even if it were just 10%, that would still be a lot. So obviously, well, there's also that now here.
Here we are watching how the Tomahawks are launched from one of these warships. It's an impressive image because of how quickly they come out.
You couldn't see it, but let's go.
Do it!
A little bit. There it is. Look, check it out. It's like a gate opens.
It's like a small gate. Then suddenly you can't see where the sparks come from. They're just gone. That's it, sir.
Let's see if... There it is. You can't see it, right? You can't really tell, right? I mean, it's really fast.
The moment is at supersonic speed, while subsonic.
Subsonic? Yes, it's below, not this one. Now, well, that's also not the fastest they have, but it is one of the most precise that the Tomahawks have managed to achieve. Now, who knows about that, about what's it called, speed, and how they are operating with these Tomahawks? Who knows how far? We're going to see attacks not only on infrastructure, but maybe even attacks on, well, civilian infrastructure. I mean, thinking about it, it wouldn't be ideal in a war, because that basically means you're also targeting the population, and that's when things will get even more complicated. But suddenly, like you said, they no longer have those targets. And if that's not enough to put pressure on the regime, then what's left, right? I mean, what's the next move? What do you think is going to happen there? Today, there's also a very symbolic moment. During all this time, well, they've put up the flag. There it is, the United States flag in Venezuela. After since 2000, I think 18, 19, around there, that flag hadn't been put up in that country. Well, yes, here it is, March 14, 2019. That's when they took down the flag from Venezuela and took it away. And now, well, today the 14th, sorry. Today, March 14th, look at that. That's why they do it. Today, March 14th, 2019. The flag was lowered, that's what it's called. And today, March 14, 2026, well, at the same time, they even raised the flag. You know, to do this classic symbolism, right? Like, what do countries do? Suddenly, well, they say a new era begins for the relationship between the United States and Venezuela, they say. Exactly 7 years after it was taken down, the flag returns. Exactly 7 years, at the same time and everything, same day. This draws attention. And there was the Chargé d'Affaires of the United States down there, the one in blue. She has already been an ambassador in several parts of the world, and now she is the Chargé d'Affaires. That's the position she holds now, because there is no ambassador.
There's still no ambassador yet, even though this woman is also present. Suddenly it changes from someone in charge of commerce, no, of energy with the issue of oil.
The Minister of
Secretary of Energy. But, well, she is basically functioning as an ambassador for the moment.
Exactly, not exactly. And she is actually at the embassy. And for now, even though she is not considered an ambassador, well, she is basically like an ambassador. So, well, that's how it is, right? That's what is shared directly, even on the official embassy page. No, there it is. It's United States Embassy, Venezuela, United States Embassy in Venezuela. And they show, well, this moment right there, well, a moment that is moving forward in that sense. Well, no, we haven't seen Maria Corina entering Venezuela yet. She was in Chile, right?
Just yesterday, Donald Trump told her not to go to Venezuela.
Not to go to Venezuela.
Very strange comment. I mean, can't he control Adelcy, or is he afraid that people will start to...
He can control Maria Corita. I mean...
No, Mom. I mean, that Adelcy might do something, or that God might do something to her, and then yes.
Ah, okay. You don't think so? I actually think it's more like he can't control Maria Corina. I think, well...
That's true, he can't control her.
Maybe that's it, because, I mean, with him, the issue has been simple. So I imagine that, well, who knows? We'll see what happens. Who knows what calculations he has, right? Between that and the situation in Cuba.
Well, you want people to get excited too.
Well, who knows, right? But the thing is, well, right now, Venezuela is like that, and we already know how Cuba is. We talked about it yesterday at around 1 in the morning, right? And, well, let's move on to other important matters as well. A few moments ago, this image of another B-52 Star Fortress was released. This was released by the United States Command, the United States Central Command, United States Central Command, in which they state, well, that, one, that it is operating, obviously, that it is carrying out a mission right now. Operation Epic Fury, that's what they call it, right? They say United States forces attacks remain unpredictable, dynamic, and decisive. The last time they showed this image was the day they were attacking the fuel depots that Israel supposedly attacked, but they also showed this image. I don't know if now we're going to see similar attacks, intense attacks, let's say, on facilities or bunkers that might be out there, but, well, it's at least an image that's surprising at this moment, and, well, we'll see later on if any attacks are reported.
Not exactly. But what is known right now from Israel and the United States is that they are already preparing the political phase within the conflict with Iran. What does the political phase mean? Well, it means that they are going to start putting pressure so that internal protests against the government of Iran begin again. Remember that Iran had quite strong protests from the end of December until the beginning of January, before the government of Iran decided to stop them in a rather violent way, where it is estimated that there are, well, the government of Iran estimates 3,000 deaths. I think that's the number they report. but according to NGOs, it could be up to 70,000 people who lost their lives for protesting against their government. But, well, according to sources cited by the Jerusalem Post, both countries are planning to intensify actions against Iranian opponents in the next 2 days. So they take to the streets and challenge the government. Remember that in recent days, well, since these attacks began, they have been asked not to go out, to stay safe. Because obviously they face two dangers. One is the ongoing attacks, and the other is the possibility of causing collateral damage. And the second is that the government of Iran, even though it is being bombed, is still very afraid of the population. So the population might take to the streets. So, well, in recent days, we also have to remember that the Israeli forces have been attacking everything quite hard. That includes the checkpoints and militia positions. So they are basically in charge of suppressing the internal protests. Has Israel been very tough on them these days? And well, that's part of the movements to get people to go out and protest in the coming days.
Well, there it is, right? B2B, 52B, I don't know which ones. Well, that's just the language of these times. Basically, several issues, several topics. I don't know if we have anything else about Iran or Israel, but honestly...
Well, Iran is currently threatening to use more powerful missiles and modernized weaponry in the coming days to, well, attack Israel, not Israel. A spokesperson said they plan to use this in ballistic missiles, implying more launches against Israel and other systems, though they didn't specify which ones, which, according to him, are more destructive, more precise, and have greater maneuverability.
Who says that?
The spokesperson from Tehran?
Well, there it is. It's the same narrative of always escalating, always escalating. Above all, because right now the question is whether they really have more missiles. I mean, if they really have, well, if they have that capability or not. We'll see if that's true, but what is true is that the attacks, yes, I mean, that part can't be denied. It hasn't happened. Next Monday, we'll surely see reactions from the markets. Well, tomorrow afternoon, which is Sunday for us, but already Monday in Asia, we'll surely be seeing reactions in that sense. Let's move on to other matters. There. So a robot, this one we're seeing here, which you just mentioned, is a construction robot. Ukrainian.
No, it's American.
American, but are they going to test it in the war in Ukraine, or how does that work?
They're going to be using it now. The company, which is American, has three. It's called Foundation, or the company is called United States. And they're going to send two, so they can be fighting on the front lines of the war. In the first line, as they say, the name of this robot is Phantom Mark 1, and the idea is to test it in wars. According to the founder, whose name is Mike LeBlanc, who is a combat veteran. By the way, these two units, Phantom Mark 1, have been deployed since February of this year, 2026, and they are carrying out reconnaissance tasks on the front line. And well, the idea is to use these combat robots as something morally preferable to losing human lives. This robot already knows how to use revolvers, semi-automatic pistols, shotguns, and has already used a replica that was made for it of what would be an M16 rifle. And, well, if confirmed, it would be the first deployment of a humanoid robot in a war, whether real or historical, and something that, well, I think everyone is going to be very scared of since Terminator.
I mean, there are already several robots being used in this conflict, right? And there's one that looks like a little cart that carries some kind of long weapon. I think it's some kind of artillery or something like that. But the point is that the other day they reported a 48-hour attack, something like that. The robot was on the front line for 48 hours shooting until it ran out of bullets, then returned. I mean, there are already reports from the Russians too. I mean, that's a Ukrainian one, but there have also been Russian robots. They've been used as well. But robots with explosives that have a very high carrying capacity. So they carry 20 or 30 kilos of explosives, go into areas where they're going to attack, and then they explode. I mean, yes, they've been used, but until now, no humanoid robot had been seen. Just imagine it. I mean, that's how it is now, and also the possibility that it could be stolen, that the technology could be stolen.
Steal the technology. And also the reality that in the future, well, the country that has more money to have that kind of weaponry is going to be the one that wins. And that you'll depend on companies to gain more than just money?
You mean the one with the most technology, right? It must be the one with the most tech. But yes, I mean the one that has technology and also the ability to hack or dismantle this, right? The creative ones.
Exactly. Just in January of this year, Ukraine carried out 7,495 robotic operations according to the data they provide. And Russian soldiers have already surrendered to armed robots controlled by Ukraine.
Man, just imagine, we're already talking about this. Well, what I do remember we've seen are images of drones where they surrender to the drone and wave a white flag. So, the drone guides them so they get to where they have to surrender, obviously already disarmed. Yes, that's also been remembered. By the way, changing the subject and moving on to other matters, let's talk about what's happening with this Chinese fleet in the Pacific. According to reports, China is sending or is, let's say, deploying such a large number of Chinese fishing fleets in the Pacific that there have never been so many Chinese fishing boats in the Pacific at this time. Satellite data analysis reveals that there are thousands of boats patrolling in formation at different points in the Pacific. We're talking from Taiwan to other regions. According to reports, in the East China Sea, for example, there have been sightings of organizations that are clearly coordinated by fishing vessels. Look, fishing boats moving in a rather unusual way, they say. When analyzing the vessel data since December 25th, they realized that something unusual is happening. Since that time, the fishing boats have been forming shapes like L's. Imagine that, they form an L and move forward. Yes, so he says imagine they form an L on one side and then the L on the other side. Yes, I mean almost like the birth symbol. Yes, no.
No, yes, I mean...
Look, he does this and it starts to be like a twist. I mean like to fish.
To fish. I was thinking something totally different, honestly. I imagined the story, do you remember Japanese, where the forest is getting closer and it's actually the enemy that's going to attack? No, or maybe they're making some kind of move, yeah.
No, that's just, I mean, like just lazing around fishing.
Just relaxing and fishing. They do have quite a big reputation.
They say they hadn't seen anything like this before, especially in that formation, he says. Something doesn't add up because that's not the nature of this kind of operation, but well, that's what draws attention, they say. We have seen groups of up to from 300 to 1,000 fishing boats. It's a huge number, he says. It seems unusual. This, he says, really, well, it's not something they've seen before, and well, this has been reported lately. They have seen it in Taiwan, near South Korea, Japan, Vietnam, and the Philippines. In other words, they are in different points on the southern map. I mean, yes, well, from the south, from Asia, right? That's where the situation is being reported in these regions, not in this area, especially in this region of the South China Sea. That's an area where that impressive number of ships has been operating. No, honestly, I mean, a long time ago, I remember it's been a lot of years, like 15 years. I remember that a fisherman from the Quintana Roo area told me that since then. Since global positioning system was invented, he said fishing was over. I mean, fishing ended. Because, well, when you found a good spot, he said before, you would go back to the good spot. In quotes, he said. And usually you wouldn't find it. Yeah, because maybe you were a kilometer behind or ahead. I mean, you can't really calculate well in the open sea, but with global positioning system, you get exactly to the spot where you were yesterday. You go back to that day, or you call them, right? You call them. Inside, they talk to each other and say, hey, I'm at this exact spot, and they go there, and that's how they take everything, all the fish. So they say, you can't recover the amount of fish that's needed. So, well, it's a problem of poor fishing management. That's what we have. But now with this, it's even more complicated, right? They say they've never seen so many Chinese fishing boats gathered like this before. This is unprecedented, at least as far as anyone knows. Well, there are attacks happening. This time, this is in Israel.
Exactly. There was an attack that affected the city of Holon today. Well, it was reportedly a ballistic missile, according to reports.
It's an attack from Iran towards Israel, an attack, as I said, with a missile. There you can see part of a car destroyed. There are no further reports yet about anything besides material damage, but since the alerts were on, I suppose everyone was already sheltered. It's not normal. Yes, you can also see the following. Let's see, these are explosions that have been reported in the last few minutes. Basically, these are in Iran, in the area near Shiraz, according to reports. Listen to the following. I'll explain more. The planes, the ones you hear, and in the background in the distance, you can see the explosions. Who knows where they might be? They say they believe it's near Shiraz. Here's another image of this. Here you can hear the plane but no, I can't see the explosion. No, wait, yes, there it is. Yes, 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 you can see it, you can see it, you can see it in the background, way in the background. According to reports, there have been at least 20 explosions in these areas. These are mountainous areas in Shiraz. Probably we'll see it tomorrow, but it's probably some kind of bunker, some kind of structure, because this is in a remote area, in a mountainous area in Iran. And what are we seeing here?
Here we are seeing the attack that took place in Ramallah, also in Israel.
Well, that's also in Israel. It's Ramallah, Ramallah, yes, Ramallah. Well, let's see where this is on the map. Not this one, but it is, or there still is. I insist that there isn't. Well, this doesn't, it obviously doesn't end. Let's see over there.
Yes, it's very intense. The movements are starting.
I mean, right now.
Yes, right now, by the way, we forgot to mention. And the United States is once again urging all Americans living in Nedak to leave immediately.
Yes, I just mentioned it live. Yes, yes, it's this area. Look, let's move back a little. It's in that area near Jerusalem. There it is, north of Jerusalem. That's where this attack is said to have happened. Between Tel Aviv, the West Bank, Jerusalem, in this area, this is where it would be. This is Ramallah, and we can see it. Look, that would be the beach.
Yes, exactly. It would be there. And the other one was in Holon in Tel Aviv. So there are two places that have been hit right now.
Holon is here actually to the north, close to Tel Aviv. Or maybe it's already part of Tel Aviv, I imagine. That's Holon. So, well, these are two attacks that are drawing attention right now. Let's see what else gets reported in a little while. In the meantime, let me show you an image that really caught my attention. Because this is, well, one of the Ayatollahs, one of these clerics who, well, shows his, how can we say it, how? How? His reaction, let's say, to the moment Iran is living through, right? Let's see if we can show the image. It's this one. Look, let's see if here it is.
Music, music, I want to ask the Lord to help, but I can't do it. Oh my God. Damn, you're stupid.
Well, it's part, let's say, of the message they were giving. Obviously, well, it caught your attention, like the situation was a bit overacted because it seemed really forced, and who knows, right? The truth is, honestly, I don't know, but a lot of people were there listening to this individual. According to reports, this was supposedly an Ayatollah named Mojoda, according to what they say. This cleric also ruled more, or is a figure who, well, like all Ayatollahs with political power as well. And this is one of the most extreme figures. He is definitely not a moderate. Yes, he is one of those who have a very extremist interpretation of the areas and all these matters. So, well, he is one of the intense figures, let's say one of the most fundamentalist and, well, from the most sectarian branches of Shiism. This person then, well, there he is as well, as part of what we've been seeing. What else do we have here right now?
Donald Trump commented that, well, Iran has supposedly been seeking him out for an agreement, but now he's the one who's not interested.
Well, so there's the topic, right? It's part, let's say, of the reactions. There's a very interesting reaction coming from the United Kingdom's Ministry of Defense, which is this message they're sending out. Let's see if I can put it up here. Are you sure you're reporting this? Published on March 14th by, as I said, the United Kingdom's Ministry of Defense. They claim that flyovers have been taking place in different parts of Bahrain, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, basically, in different areas. In areas of the Middle East, planes from the United Kingdom are flying over and intercepting attacks, drones, and missiles coming from Iran. In short, Iran has kept attacking other countries. Some of the attacks do get through, but there are more and more defense systems from the British protecting this area. So what I'm getting at is that Iran's operations are continuing.
Continúan.
Right now, the United Kingdom is in a defensive mode. They're operating that way, let's say, and they haven't attacked Iran yet. But, well, sooner or later, if things continue, they might end up making a different decision. In the meantime, it shows that there's a lot of pressure on the Middle East, a lot of pressure on the Gulf, where France is already operating, where the United Kingdom is operating, where Bahrain itself is operating. Today, an image showed a missile launched from Bahrain. They claim, but haven't confirmed, that Bahrain is now attacking too. Who knows if it's true or not, because on that subject I insist they say it's not.
Yes, they insist that it's not. And, well, just a little bit about how Iran is being affected. The Formula One race that was going to be held in Bahrain and Saudi Arabia has just been cancelled. Obviously, because of the conflict, it's very difficult to hold an international event in this situation. And also about the 7 female soccer players who managed to escape from the training camp there. In Australia, only 3 of them will be granted asylum. The rest, unfortunately, are returning to Iran due to government pressure.
Their relatives are being held, their families are detained, they're basically being held hostage because the players haven't returned. The selected players. So they had already agreed to live there in Australia, they had the permit, they had everything. And the pressure from Iran, the pressure, well, to such a level that, well, they've gone back. Now there are only 3 soccer players left who stayed. No.
I mean, 5, no, well, yes, only 3, they stayed.
Yes, only 3. All right, let's go to the comments. Hey, there are several interesting things going on right now. We'll talk about them in a moment, but also since it's Saturday, you know, on Saturdays we try to talk a little about some movies, some series. Thank you. Tomorrow is Sunday and the Oscars, right? Yes, the Oscars are tomorrow.
So yes.
Yes, the Oscars are tomorrow. Well, let's see how it goes. This Conan is going to host them.
Conan O'Brien, yes, he was testing his jokes in different little coffee shops and little bars, you know, and none of his jokes about train dreams have worked. This movie is honestly too complicated to joke about.
Yeah, but the one he shared there is really good. That joke is great. Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, yeah, it's really good. Greetings. You didn't even see it, did you? Yeah, I saw it. So, what was the joke?
I honestly don't remember. It wasn't that good. He said, "Don't laugh, not even these are funny." Greetings to Daniel Castillo, he says. Greetings and good shalom. Greetings, Daniel. Greetings, Sergio. And they should move forward and not think about revenge, just like the Jews, always thinking about revenge and then they lose.
As the kid Loco says, no, revenge is not good. It kills the soul and poisons it, doesn't he say?
He says another phrase, revenge is best served cold. Well, it's served.
No.
The guy Locho, no means no?
No, we're talking about the guy Loco.
He says, Benedicto, the player, was in Iran.
That saying about revenge being best served cold is really vengeful.
Yes, something very vengeful.
No, I didn't understand why.
So Benedicto, a player, was there. A player who was in Iran, a soccer player from my country. He left in a truck to Turkey and then to Spain on a quick flight. He escaped. Greetings, Benedicto Loco.
Greetings, Benedicto. How have you been?
Greetings to Chris. Yes, how are you, Chris? Yes, greetings, Chris Gonzalez. Greetings, Maria Gonzalez.
Very good, Maria. Greetings.
Hector Palacios says, greetings from San Antonio, Texas. Greetings, Hector, and to Ruben Williams, to Sol Garcia, and my in-laws from Brazil. And they are excited about the nomination for the movie nominated San Amen.
Okay.
Greetings to Daniel Castillo, and the Iranians have never won a World Cup, as far as I know. No, well, if not, they haven't won. The Iranians have never won a World Cup. Greetings to Miguel Alejandro, who we sent to Dad Novak for the gala. Will it be a success on the channel or in the community? He says, greetings, Miguel.
Greetings, Miguel. Very good.
Benito says, by the way, Chavo roll, has he done it?
Is that correct? Christy, how have you been? Hello, greetings. What's up, Maria Gonzalez, Adrian? What's up, Eliseo?
Greetings, Vic Scarza, how are you? He says, good afternoon. Greetings to Daniel Castillo, to Ruben Mexico. Fidel Botello is also here. Patri Monsalve, how are you, Patri?
Greetings, Father. Very good. He says that a storm is expected, by the way, in the United States, so be alert, friends who are over there. A winter storm still, there is still strength in the storms, and we have to be alert about that. We will talk more about it tomorrow, but it is a winter storm for which there are currently alerts for 20 million people. This is due to snow that can reach up to 60 centimeters. So, above all, this is going to interrupt and intensify across much of the Midwest. We'll look at the map in a moment. Anyway, just to get an idea of where the new snow is headed, where it's going to go, for the next, let's say 3 days or so, 3 or 4 days, it's going to be in this area of the United States, basically the entire central region, where it will be spreading out, all of it. The Midwest is going to have significant snowfall, and this will keep moving forward. So from now until, for example, next week, especially in this area, a bit towards the Great Lakes. Maybe even Chicago, somewhere around there. Let's see. Chicago, there it is. In the north, where it'll snow most, it's 9 centimeters. Not that much, right? But if you go further north, for example, maybe thinking about it, over there in Ontario, in all those areas, there's still quite a bit of new snow coming on top of what's already there. Be careful with that. We'll discuss it more tomorrow. Cheers, Leonardo Augusto. It's so nice to see you. Greetings.
Argentina already working. Greetings, Leonardo.
Alan Rick, how have you been? Greetings to Venezuela, very good. Ruben, very good. Francisco Arce, greetings to Mexico City. He says, Mexico will win this World Cup, he says. Greetings, Maria Gonzalez, how have you been? Very good, Patrieste over there. Villa Adrian, greetings from Spain. Adrian, how have you been? Who else is here? Sol Garcia says, my in-laws are from Brazil and he's excited about the nomination, he says. Ah, that's great. Greetings, Sol.
Greetings to Master Shifu Ablanca, also to Maria Gonzalez, how are you? Greetings, and to Angel Mourinho, he says Taco is asking for help. What a big problem he has caused for the planet. Should they remove him because of Torp?
Greetings, Ruben. Hey, what's up? Imagine opening the Oscars there, the dad. That's something else. That would be good, says Hector. Greetings, how have you been? Greetings to Antonio, Texas. Very good. Who else is out there?
Greetings to Miguel Alejandro and also to Daniel Castillo. And yes, it has become an example of how governments that don't submit will go down hard. Greetings, Daniel.
Greetings, Maria Gonzalez. See you, he says. It's very hot. Yes, here in Monterrey it's been pretty warm.
Tomorrow it's supposed to be cold.
Tomorrow it's going to be cold again.
Or at night since it starts then, yes.
We're on a long weekend here in Mexico, by the way.
So we don't have a work day until Monday? Well, we do, but schools and banks don't.
Exactly. It's a bit strange.
Because we're in a heat island?
Yeah, we're in a little heat island, exactly. So there it is. Look, I mean, if we look at it, the coldest part for tomorrow will be 11 degrees at night, and the warmest part will be 25 degrees. So we'll see what happens, whether the warmth coming from the Gulf wins out or the cold coming from the north. But we're going to have a very strange temperature, right? Look, notice the difference, I mean, between 11 degrees and 25 degrees, just about an hour apart, more or less. So yeah, that's unusual. Interesting weather for tomorrow and for Monday night. There, look, check this out.
Yes, it is.
But cold.
Cold.
I told you, I can't believe it. Not even the jacket. Look, I thought jackets weren't necessary anymore. But look, I mean, tomorrow, Monterrey, 6 degrees. No, not tomorrow. This is Monday night. That's crazy. Let's see. And Tuesday afternoon, it gets a little better. But it's still kind of cold, huh? Tuesday afternoon, and at night, Tuesday, it's all going to be cold. Hey, that's crazy.
I didn't believe it. I just said it's going to be cold. Yeah, Tuesday.
I almost didn't believe you, not because I doubted you, but because the joke made me laugh. Yeah, because I hadn't noticed, I hadn't checked how it was going to be, how cold it was going to get. I knew the front was coming, but hey, it's not that big. Especially because it's March 14th. We're about to start spring.
But yeah, well, I feel like it's normal. There's always a cold front or two that sneaks in during March, of course, yeah. Greetings to Ana Lilia Villavicencio. How are you, Ana Lilia? She's a diamond member, right?
That's great.
Greetings to Walter. Adilson is also here. Greetings to Adilson, and also greetings to Rublo, Mexico. We also greet David Rodriguez. Dear friends, hugs from Vietnam. Now I greet you. What does Vietnam say? It's really beautiful, honestly.
Greetings.
Greetings to Gabriel, who says, seeing that they're attacking 17 neighboring countries, what do you think would have happened if Iran got nuclear weapons and someone got tired of the 47 terrorist groups it funds around the world? Yes, right? So, the thing is, no country should be allowed, well, in general, more countries shouldn't be allowed to have nuclear weapons, but especially not a country like that.
Yes.
Greetings to Alan, who says that Maduro is coming back through the Darien. Yes, he's on his way back, the reverse route. Greetings to Adrian Gilbert. He says Iran will attack at the Oscars with the whole thing about being able to fly drones across the Pacific. If they do it, do they win an Oscar? Yeah, well, I don't think so.
Hey, but anyway, is there an FBI alert about drones? Exactly. We have to remember that Iran has submarines. They would have had to send a submarine into the Pacific, go in really deep, get really close.
Can you imagine in this one?
And something like that. But yeah, just imagine, right? No, right? In that case, it doesn't just affect Oscar, it affects the World Cup. In that case, I would say they would cancel it, if it happens. And that's also why it was so risky to do this before the World Cup. Everyone says he should have done it after the World Cup, not before. Because basically you're giving them a very clear target and you don't need much, just a little, with a little.
It doesn't have to go directly to Iran. Many people are inspired right now.
There are many there. Those so-called lone wolves.
Not active?
Who, well, have this terrorist mindset. And so there's an issue there, right?
You see, yesterday we were telling you about one who carried out an attack in the Senate, the synagogue in Michigan, whose brothers were from Hezbollah, and he searched in and in the United States. Greetings too, says Rublox. Here in Mexico, we've had that high price alert for a while now, says Rublox. Greetings.
Greetings, Rublox. How have you been?
And greetings to Julio Benavides. Thanks, Julio. And to Daniel Castillo, he says, maybe you'll catch a cold in Mexico. It's possible. Greetings to social media that asks, who will win the World Cup Classic? I'm Dominican and cheering for the Dominican Republic, the world's best team.
Saludos.
Hello. Greetings too. Yes, we read it. And Adrian says, is there anyone who wants to play with the Korean guy? He has all the toys. He's looking for friends to play with. I know that according to Trump, he wants to. Yesterday, he sent him something like, let's meet up. Let's see when we can make it happen. And well, he immediately launched 10 missiles at Japan. So I don't think they know anything.
I don't think so.
I think it's a message, don't you? Because if he's seeing what's going on, well, he gets nervous. It's not like he just gets the feeling out of nowhere.
Look, they sent this. This was made with artificial intelligence, Mexinol. This, if I'm not mistaken, is Adrian. If I'm not mistaken. Sending you greetings, Adrian. And if it's not you, then to whoever sent it to me. This is really great. So they have this guy, what's his name? Trump and Kim Jong-un's daughter, they show her as if she's married. Just imagine that.
Imagine how scary that would be. Imagine the kids too. They'd be crazy. No, thank you.
And there it says, look, let's see. It's very, very exciting. Let's listen to it. No, wait a moment.
Yes!
There is Putin.
Nice to Putin. Music from those guys. That was the German. That was Macron.
German Chancellor of France.
And yes, Chancellor. The German Chancellor was there. And this guy and Macron was there too. Bonda Lion is there. They're all there. There's Bonda Lion is there. The Italian is there. What's her name? Meloni Erdogan is there. Let's see who else. Who else did they invite to the party? Is this Merz, the German chancellor, playing that instrument? They're dancing. Look at them. Just look.
And because they're dancing Turkish style, that's what they don't understand.
Well, it's just that the person who made the animation, or the one who ordered the AI animation, probably. Since they're from over there, and there they are.
From India, I don't know.
Oh, from India, yeah, who knows? I don't know. In fact, with glasses, it's the best.
Because people stand out.
Hey, but I think that's Lula in the back, or is it the guy from India? Yeah, I know.
It's so far away that it gets distorted.
Yeah, who knows? Well, let's go see the band. AI memes are suddenly really good. Well, what else?
Should we make a day out of each of those videos? Compilation of kids, psychopaths, dads, psychopaths. I know, I just didn't want them to come out. Greetings to Miguel Alejandro. No, the AI is crazy to be at that party. Greetings to Benedicto, also from my father. And what will come out of those two crazy people I know? They don't have any. All right, Damian, if mom isn't here, but if she is, let her tell me. Okay.
If he goes out with the 36,
And he leaves and let the chonas dance, that would be nice.
thousands are missing.
Ah, yes, that's true. Thousands are missing. Trump's buddy.
Would have danced to Las Chonas.
Very good. Greetings to Ruben William. I need to check if I didn't do it. Greetings also to Leonardo. And if we are 90 days away from the World Cup starting, I wonder if the war in the Middle East will reach the stadiums. Or are there two referees, the United States and China, who set the rules, Leo?
Greetings. How has it been? Says Manuel. Technology is already dominating humanity, says Manuel. How have you been? Very good. Eliseo says, doesn't Trump come out with his hand gestures? No, he doesn't come out being himself. Not this one.
No, here he does no.
Yes, this one dances well. And well, about movies and and recommended series, is there any you'd like to mention?
Well, about series, well, we're watching the second season of Luffy, which isn't called One Piece.
If you like the animated series, then you might also like the live action one.
But I don't understand you. For example, I've never seen it.
But I prefer preferably.
So if you haven't seen it, watch it. Season 1 is really fun. The villains are cool. And if you watch it with that mindset. It's like a cartoon, but in real life, because there are things they do that are very cartoonish.
Yeah. There's one we're watching. What's it called?
The one about No.
The one about No.
We have it exactly.
That one is in progress. We're still looking at it. Chilean with Estelle Garcia too. Well, we've been watching the Slow Horses series. It's going, but it's really good. In fact, I'm liking the second season even more. It's from that actually. It's more my style since it's about espionage and stuff. It's cool. They also announced, by the way, that they're going to make the Lay Files, the new X-Files. I mean, a totally new season. The question is which mysteries they'll discuss, since there are already so many. They used to discuss this topic, and what was interesting about the FBI and the investigation was how secretive everything was. Now that it's becoming more open, I'm unsure how far they'll want to go. Well, talk about that topic. There's also this documentary that you recommended to us called Dinosaurs. They say it's really good. They say it's excellent. I haven't been able to watch it yet, but it's already on my list to see if I can watch it soon. And I hope to watch the one on Prime in the next few days. You guys also recommended us some about time travel, right?
Yes, says Maria. My daughters watch One Piece. It's really good. I really like the first season. Because of a specific character, the clown is a really good villain. He's really cool. Greetings to Miguel Alejandro and Macron. They show up wearing glasses because he must have asked Minister Meloni from Italy to dance and she gave him a black eye. There's a series that really caught my attention on Netflix. It's 2 Media, which is amazing. It's about a Palestinian who moves to Houston and pretends to be from Mexico. It's not that good because later it gets a 100% rating. That's super rare, but it's something worth watching.
Yeah, well, that's pretty cool, right? And there is a resemblance, in the physical appearance of many Mexicans and Arabs. Not always, obviously, but sometimes. So it's just the clothing, right? Which clothing style is more Mexican? Well, obviously they could look similar, he says. Some vampire series, but I haven't really watched anything lately.
The one we watched a long time ago on.
Strain, it's really good, by Guillermo del Toro, and it's about vampires. In fact, we didn't finish it, no.
Yes, yes.
We know if I met myself. If you can check out The Hand, since you're talking about getting to know it because it's not new anymore, but if you haven't seen it and you like the vampire theme, even more so. Not for me, I'm not a fan of vampires, but that Strain is really good. It has like the exact combination of classic vampirism, but also vampirism seen from a scientific point of view. So it's a very strange, very interesting mix that Guillermo del Toro did really well. And another writer whose name I can't remember, but it's a very interesting project.
A movie we highly recommend. We saw it in the theater Argo, which has to do with Iran. Do you remember that when Iran's government took over, there were some diplomats working at the United States Embassy who went to take refuge in the Canadian Embassy? Well, it's the whole story of how they get them out. It's really entertaining. It's really good. Stephen Affleck is in it.
Does he direct it or does he also direct it?
Yes, I think I don't remember, but he's in that one called Argo.
Yes, he acts. And as far as I know, he directs. Maybe I'm wrong.
But is it inspired by how they got him out? Of course, they probably made some adjustments to make it more entertaining, but it's really good, says Juanita. And what if I disagree with you a little? In the United States, most public media only speak in favor of the Democrats against the president. That's why I get my information here. I rarely watch television and there aren't many who support Petron.
Yeah, I mean,
News Nation.
a fact, Fox News this. I mean, if there's always one, obviously it's good to have criticism. That's very good. There has to be criticism. Yes, it's important. If there's no criticism, then what's the point? Essentially, it's just watching propaganda from both sides. Still, I think what you do is good. I mean, trying to look at several options and have more accurate information, right? I mean, at the end of the day, nobody owns the truth, but if you have several different perspectives, you can form a more complete view yourself.
No, of course, that's always super important because if we only look at ourselves, I mean, I can imagine that's not good. Cable news network super Antitron. If you only see Antitron, it's kind of just Antitron. If you only have one point of view, you miss balance, but seeing different perspectives gives you a more balanced view.
Dice salud, muchas gracias.
No criticism, well, no. So, hey, Eliseo Disma, how have you been? Is there a season of American Horror Story about vampires? Yes, thank you.
Ah, fíjate, esa no la he visto. No he visto.
Thank you.
Yes, I think we saw each other in an episode of the first season.
Thank you. We've seen... No, it doesn't say greetings, it says, but that animation says Chavos Rojo. What's that about?
¿La de One Piece o qué?
No, bueno, One Piece.
Am I talking?
Thank you.
Yes, or are you referring to what the intelligence did to this?
It's a movie in Gracias. Sé que está buena. El Inmortal.
El Inmortal. ¿Cuál será? ¿Cuál será?
Thank you.
Película.
Sí, dice película que está en Netflix.
Ok.
A ver.
I don't remember that movie.
Inmortal.
El otro día vimos.
About this Denzel Washington one. I don't know if we talked about it here, but thank you.
Yes, highs, lows.
Highs, lows, it's called. Yes.
Yes, I'll tell you.
Yes, okay.
Yes, very good. Thank you. El Inmortal.
Who knows which one it will be? Ah, we saw another one. Thank you.
Yes, we've already discussed it, Bucones.
Bucones. Ah, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we've seen it. It's...
Está.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And there's a movie.
I think they just made it. In the final encounter, there's a Helena Gracias in the future where the sky is red. They've already made the third one. No, well, we have to watch it. Pepe becomes a super mega fan of kids. Greetings.
Greetings. Very good. He says, I'm going to drop the nuke here. Here in okay, they would have already dropped the nuke, he says. Adrian. No, wait, Adrian.
Intense. He says, he told me that his girlfriend has a lot of scenes that don't make sense in the narrative. I haven't seen it. I have seen the trailer. It looks really weird. No, it's not the kind of movie I like. Yeah, The Girlfriend. Haven't you seen it? It's been everywhere, especially the trailers on X. They must have paid a lot because it keeps popping up, says Jonathan.
About what?
Well, it seems like a girl who comes back to life in something like It Gives Me the Feeling of Frank's Bride. Yes, but it's with the current one, but modern. She's stranded.
The one that did catch my attention. Like to have some snacks for it's Scream 6, which looks really silly, but that's how Scream should be, right? It's like a parody of horror. So at least the trailer is really good. If the movie is as fun as the trailer, I think it's going to be interesting. That's for sure.
It says here, Our Crystal Ball. I recommend you watch Frieren. It's an anime that heals the soul and makes you see life differently.
Greetings, very good. What's up, says Cecilia. They say that Netanyahu supposedly died, right? No, that's completely false. I mean, if you notice, there aren't any media outlets talking about that topic, only in any case, maybe some influencers or people who supposedly are influencers. Well, they started spreading that hypothesis, that theory, and they were showing it from a so-called video. And about her, and I don't know what else, and they really went too far with their imagination. Honestly, yeah, it's surprising. And then they started creating images with artificial intelligence precisely of this Netanyahu, like, you know, not looking right. I mean, that's what they're saying. Well, that's how things are. No. Well, if a death like this happens, the information about a leader of this kind is immediately spread with no way to stop it. I mean, the information spreads really fast in that sense. Greetings, he says. Lastly, there's an amazing anime called Vampire Hunter. He says, hey, Dismal, that's a good one to write it down right now here in the... Have you seen it? I'm also curious to watch that Abraham Lincoln versus vampires or something like that. They say it's really interesting and funny, but I can't tell if it's a comedy, horror, or something else. But that it's a popcorn movie, I mean, it's entertaining supposedly, so we'll have to check it out, he says. They recommended Vampire Diary to me. Is it worth watching or not? I haven't seen it. Have you seen it?
Vampire Diary? Isn't it the one about temples?
Well, yes, that's the one. Yes, I saw it.
Yes, about temples. It's been a long time. Yes, it's good if you want to feast your eyes. She says.
Will it be Tom Cruise, and will he get a chance too?
Or the series?
Will it get a chance too?
The movie or series doesn't say no.
No, it says it's a movie. Yes.
I just think that's it. It's the horror series.
It's a series. Someone suggested Vampire Diary, but I said no.
No, honestly, no. We're not the type to watch vampire series outside of the stream.
The stream, yes.
No.
Since this, I don't know, Interview with the Vampire. That's the famous one. Yeah, Interview with the Vampire. Greetings.
Greetings to Chaburuco. Greetings to Chaburuco. Blessings from Colombia, Tulua. Greetings, Avery, Antonio. How are you? Greetings to Vic and Chaburuco. If you don't know the channel, better not to ask. Greetings, Chaburuco.
Chaburuco?
Greetings to Juan Carlos, who says the United States and Israel should use more powerful weapons because the missiles come out from underground. Long live their freedom. Regards, Juan Carlos.
He says he's talking there about how he says, greetings. That Trump is a disgrace, I mean, I say, and in that sense, Juanita, I agree with your in-laws, he's a disgrace. He's a person who has done a lot of harm to Hispanics and has done a lot of harm to many issues in the United States. The truth is that he's a person with a very troubling history. You just have to scratch the surface of the cases at CENI, that's enough. Greetings. It's a very sensitive topic. Honestly, this person has left many Republicans regretful in that sense. Friends, family members, even those who are or were Republicans, are totally disappointed with everything that's going on. I mean, let's be clear. For me, that's basically the justification he had for going to war. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gone to war if it weren't for that. So, it's a topic that's clearly not just polarizing anymore, it's polarizing even among those who were already polarized, like the Make America Great Again crowd. So right now, the Make America Great Again people are split, because there is a group of Make America Great Again who are in favor of the war, and there are other Make America Great Again who are totally against the war. So there's an internal clash, and you're not even counting the Democrats, where honestly both sides have skeletons in their closet, both sides have done their own thing. But here, greetings to Chaburuco.
Greetings to a bunch of crazy people. There's also a character whose name I can't remember right now, who is anti-Israel and pro-Trump. Right now, he's saying that Iran is fighting for the freedom of the United States. You think that's crazy?
Greetings to Chaburuko. Of these ultra Trump supporters who defend really strange things, for example, there's this guy who defends Vladimir Putin and he goes and interviews him.
He says that the CIA wants to frame him for a crime.
Greetings, Chaburuko. The show that generates the most controversy, Greetings to A, is the one people applaud, and that's the one that goes viral. And it's the one that, honestly, the crazier they make it, the more it seems that way.
Greetings to, for example,
Her too. I mean,
Son personajes.
Greetings to. In one area to the left and in another to the right at the same time, at the same radical time, Greetings to. Well, those are clearly the ultra-conservatives and those are the ultra-liberals. Okay, perfect. No. Now there are ultra-liberals with far-right positions and those on the far right with ultra-liberal positions. Or is it a mix of absolute madness?
Greetings A. I was listening to a debate between several specialists, a CIA historian, a CIA spy, I don't remember who it was. The other person, someone who is Iranian, one of those who escaped when he was a child and who now criticizes the government, an advisor of some sort to several presidents, and they were saying that Donald Trump is the least patriotic president there is. He's the president who's fighting for the legacy left by the Trump brand. Greetings to Chaburuko, greetings, you can. It's something super, super hard to see that in many states in the United States, they don't see that, right? That he's looking out for himself, for his legacy, for what the Trump brand means, for the truth, but no.
Greetings. The scandal that's coming out right now about TikTok, it's being reported by the Wall Street Journal. I don't know if you've seen it, but the Wall Street Journal released a report in which more or less the commission they're paying Trump is about $10 billion regarding the TikTok issue. I mean, I don't know how the deal is going to work, but the fact that TikTok was sold and he's acting as a mediator is going to generate a huge business for him, a tremendous business. Tomorrow we'll talk about that case as well because I'm studying it to try to understand how the trick was done and who is really going to benefit. Whether it's directly him, his family, or people close to him, you know, to look at all those details. But I didn't have enough time to read that part because it's really crazy. It's really interesting.
Says Manuel Munoz. And this whole thing, how does the war affect Mexico? Well, in prices and things, Manuel, they're going up. You can already start to see certain things in food. Because, well, if gas prices go up, then everything goes up for fertilizers, for transportation, for so many things.
If diesel goes up, gas goes up, oil goes up. I mean, that's the thing. If this keeps going like this, right? We'll also have to see how much this affects things in a month or two. I mean, because if it's an effect that goes up and down really quickly, then maybe it doesn't affect things so directly.
Let's say. And Johanna says here that she's watching Top Gun. Which one? The first or the second? The second one is really good. The second one is amazing.
Well, I like all those Top Gun movies. These were the classics of that time, but they've managed to bring them back. Yeah, they haven't
really brought them back.
Well, and they haven't aged badly. I mean, they're still entertaining. I mean, they're still fun to watch, let's say.
And here Adrian Gino says, but Mexico doesn't have oil. Yes, it does. Yes.
It does. But the thing is that if oil prices go up anyway, well, oil keeps costing, I mean, it keeps going up in price too, right? So if the barrel goes up to $100, in theory, there should be some kind of subsidy here so that the price doesn't go up so much and all that stuff. Supposedly, they should be refining more, but we would have to check the data to see if they're really refining more. A refinery was bought in, Pemex bought a refinery in Texas, and they have another refinery that is supposed to already be operating or should be working, supposedly. Here, right here, we have a refinery here in Nuevo León, and that's where there's proximity to the refining. Prices usually stay more or less the same. Here, the price hasn't gone up. For example, here in Nuevo León, so far the lower octane one is still available.
26 la mayor octana.
I'm not sure if it's increasing elsewhere in the country. The other day they were saying it was 30, but I don't know if it's just a specific type of gasoline or if it's the whole state already. Over there in Jalisco, I think so, but I'm not sure. We'd have to check if it was something specific or not.
Yeah, right? In everyone's economy, everywhere and all over the world. And actually, yesterday I came across a document, a reporter that I've been following there. In Tijuana, there's a mosque, and well, he had been interviewing foreigners who go there from Africa. I think he feels most comfortable with them, and they told him there was an Iranian. Estaba ahí todo el tiempo, o sea, que estaba refugiado in that mosque. And well, they get a little nervous about what he's starting to get involved in. Well, groups or some terrorist figure.
Well, between that and the paranoia that comes up.
Well,
But if the topic sounds strange, I don't really care about the oil. Mine says, I'll set it. I'll set the price, right? Well, if I say the country can do that,
especially with its population, well, yes, sure, let them make money abroad, but they shouldn't owe them anything.
I don't know exactly what it is.
But well, for example, Mexico doesn't buy fertilizer. I mean, we don't make it. We buy it. I think we used to buy it from Ukraine. We bought it from Russia. I don't remember if from Brazil too.
That goes up there.
There, yes, there's no other way.
Ahí sí no hay de otra.
Exactly.
All right, let's go.
All right, guys, remember that we're on WhatsApp, we're on Telegram. That's where we send you the notifications for the live streams. And we're also on Facebook, X, and Instagram.
Thank you for joining us. Big shout out to the community. We'll be here tomorrow to discuss what's happening in the world. Greetings to Daniel, Adrian, Manuel, and the whole Liceo community. So if you notice any changes, if you see anything that catches your attention, something strange, price increases, decreases, whatever it is, just let us know. We're on Telegram, we're on WhatsApp, we're in touch. Take care, greetings.
Which World Cup location is safer? Mexico, the United States, or Canada?
To Monterrey.
Monterrey, I'm telling you.
Greetings, Jalala. How have you been, Patri, Francisco, Adrian? A big hug. Hope you're all doing well. See you later.
We interrupt your regular programming.
Thank you for tuning into the truth.
This is Pepe Live.
The truth is intense, the unusual is real.
Here we analyze it. Global perspective, don't miss out. Tune into the Pepe Live channel with PP controlling the signal and Astrid telling it like it is. Raw journalism. Here, respect is given.
Activate the alert. Don't lose track until next time. Yes, sir, we're taking attendance. Live at the house. Live.